I've been gone for a minute, but now I'm back in the jump off. In my time away, girl, I've done quite a few things. Okay. So, one of the things that I've done is I've created a 6-week writing course called Intro to Writing Practice for new and inspiring writers who basically are afraid to call themselves writers. It's not because, girl, you don't have the skills and you don't have the chops. I think it's just you don't have the confidence and you don't have a writing practice. So, Intro to Writing Practice essentially is a 6-week course to help you develop your writing niche, develop your writing practice, actually give you some prompts so that you can add to your existing portfolio or create the portfolio that you need or your collection of work and just workshop some of your existing work and even some of your new work with other people that are in the class, with your peers. Okay. So far we have done 2 weeks of the intro to writing practice and I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast teaching the class. I'm having a blast learning about the people that are in the class and just hearing how their brains work as writers and storytellers and what the hangups might be and how we can work through all of that stuff to show up and show out as the writer that you aspire to be because you already are there. You just got to know that you are there. And that's what this class, that's what this course is for. We're having a blast, okay? Something else that I've started doing. I have created like a personal book reading challenge for myself. Okay, so I love words. I love books. I love reading words. I love writing words. I love books. I also love collecting books. And in my book collection quests, I don't always read all the books that I collect. Okay. Now I do read a lot. Okay. But I don't make enough time sometimes for the vast collection of books that I have. And what I do, I just keep adding to it. So I will say the pandemic has kind of slowed me down in that regard because, things were closed down for a while. And I couldn't really just be out in the streets how I wanted to, especially even with the Friends of the Library sale. I ain't been in that in over a year. And I feel some kind of way about it, but that's not what this video is about. Also, I said, well, this could be an opportunity for me to just kind of save a little bit of money too, because, I'm very frugal on certain things. I'm cheap on certain stuff. And when it comes to books, baby, it's like, whew, what? I gotta pump my brakes on that. So this challenge it has a few different reasons why I'm doing it. First of all, because I just need to read what I got, and I have a lot to read to probably get me through the next several months, if not the rest of the year, right? Secondly, I need to assess my inventory to see if I even want to read what I have. So in doing that, there's some books I'm like, I'm probably never gonna read that, so I'm putting this in the giveaway pile. Or I have read that and I don't like that book, and that's going in the giveaway pile too. So it's helping me also catalog some of the stuff that I have as well. Now, over the last, I don't know, maybe year or so, most of my reading has been in like personal development, self-help, spirituality, healing, and stuff like that, right? And I love reading that kind of stuff. I write about that kind of stuff sometimes as well. But I also love novels, and I haven't really been spending enough time with novels as I like to. Novels just bring out a more playful side to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like we busy, we have stuff to do, it's a lot going on, we got kids. They still in school. Thank God this is the last week of school, but my God, it's been the longest school year ever. Reading a novel it's like, your getaway time. At least for me, that's how I look at it. It's my getaway time. I don't have to do nothing in this moment, but just get wrapped up in somebody else's story and in a different character. And that that's self-care. Okay. For me, at least. So, that's what I've been doing. And I've been having a really, 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 really good time just reading the stuff that I got at home. Like, for real. And I've talked about it on my Instagram stories a couple of times here and there. What I just got finished reading today is this. Another Brooklyn by Jacqueline Woodson. So one of my friends, Taylor, hey Taylor girl, Taylor she gifted me 2 of Jacqueline Woodson's books, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. She got me Brown Girl Dreaming and this book. I read Brown Girl Dreaming a while ago. I love that book, and it made me fall in love with Jacqueline Woodson as a storyteller. Sis is just phenomenal, but she is phenomenal in a subtle way, and it just kind of creeps up on you. Like, it's like You ever had a moment where like you were kind of iffy maybe about, well, maybe not iffy, but you were presented with like a new dessert or something, right? You ain't never really seen it before, you know, it ain't never really been around you. Hmm. But you're like, you know, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna bite into this. And then when you bite into it, it's like an explosion of just epic proportions. That is Jacqueline Woodson for me. I don't think I had ever really heard of her prior to receiving the books. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have nothing to go off of. And then I read Brown Girl Dream and I was like, ooh. Okay, so I want more of this. But I forgot I had it. Well, I remembered. And you guys, what a story. It's beautifully written, and she just weaves so many different themes together in a seamless way. In a seamless way. It's really, really beautiful. Like, this video is not to give a review of this book, because I think that people should read stuff and determine for themselves if they like something or don't like something. What I take from it, you might not take from it, and vice versa. Just because I like it don't mean you might not like it, and again, vice versa. But my experience with this book was, it was soft, it was impactful, and it was a little bit playful too. The protagonist here is August. August is a girl from Sweet Grove, Tennessee, who ends up moving from Tennessee to Brooklyn with her father and her younger brother. And they left their mother in Tennessee. They don't know why they left their mother, and they don't know if she's coming to Brooklyn, why she's not there, and when she might come, if she does at all. But they just know that she has not come. And, you know, one night turns into a week, turns into a month, a year. And I think she was about 8 years old when they moved there. She didn't find out until she was about 16 as to why mama really did not show up. And it was kind of a reckoning that she needed to have with not just herself, but with her father, because it's like, yo, bro, why you didn't tell me this? And her younger brother kind of asked her, well, why did you tell me she would come tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow? And he asked this when they were grown, and she said, because for a long time, I believed that she would come. She didn't know. But as you get towards the end of this book, you learn why mommy didn't come. So this story is pretty much about a young girl figuring out girlhood without a matriarch to lead and guide her. There is no woman to really help her for a long time at first. She's with her daddy and her brother. So she would dudes all the time. She with boys all the time, her daddy and her brother. And oftentimes she's left in charge because she's the oldest and daddy got to work and he's a single father. So, you know, she kind of is like his pseudo mama as well. And, you know, relatable content, because I don't care what nobody say I raised my brother. I'm playing. No, I'm not, but I'm playing. Anyway, she's missing her mom. She's also missing just the gentle touches of a woman and a mother, like, you know, just someone to braid her hair and to, you know, scratch her scalp and things like that her father either didn't do, doesn't know how to do, and doesn't have time to do because he's always going to work to make sure they got something to eat in the house. So upon just, you know, I guess grieving something that she didn't even realize that she's grieving, she sees these three girls who are always locked by the arms, skipping up and down the streets of Brooklyn. Angela, Sylvia, Gigi, they're best friends, and she watches them from her upstairs window, because when they first moved to Brooklyn, daddy was like, y'all ain't going outside. It's crazy out here. It's junkies out here. You know, people be snatching kids. No, stay in the house. But as time went on, he, you know, kind of release them a little bit into the world, to eventually she was able to lock arms with them and turn the trio to a four-part group. They went to school together. They did everything together. And so it's like she's missing like the feminine touches of her mom and just, you know, the feminine embrace and love of her mother. but at the same time, she does get to experience some femininity in those just girl relationships with these girls. So they don't replace her mom, but they definitely give her something that she has not gotten in a long time and that she can't get at home with her father and her brother. Now, eventually, they convert to being Muslims. So, like, there's a sister from the faith that comes over, that her dad is like, listen, I need you to come and talk to my daughter. Just because he realized that she was struggling and she needed a mama. So her name was Sister Loretta. She came and she would clean the house and she would make sure they had food and they would pray together and things like that. She was very aware that that wasn't her mom, but she was a mother figure to her. And, so that was helpful for to her as well. Also, just kind of, the book does a really good job of exploring, like, not just August's life, but also like the girlhood of the other girls and some things that happen to them and how they all navigate friendships in their own girlhood, and then what it looks like for them as they all come from different backgrounds, whether it's in race. I mean, they're all Black girls, but they all have different heritages. So, I think Sylvia is French. I think her dad is French or something like that. So, there's that, and just all these different things that come in and out of it. And I think it's a good book. It was a good read. The story itself was only 170 pages, and then there are 5 additional pages where Jacqueline Woodson is talking about what it was like to write this book. So it was an easy read. It was digestible, and it also won't take you forever to read if you're looking to read something that's, is fulfilling, but it also is not like 500 pages long. Look at it. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not huge. So I think this is a good book to start if you want to read something, if you want to read something that's, quick, if you want to read something that won't just overwhelm you. I think this is a great book, but it is a really, really nice read. That's what I just got to reading. Now I got to find my next book. So what I'm doing, because I have all kinds of books around here. Right now I'm focusing on novels because they make me happy and I just want to read them. And I got plenty of them here. Specifically novels written by Black women. All right. I have a lot of that kind of content. And these are the 3 that I selected as just hey, help me choose one. All right. I don't know which one to choose. So I need some help. What do you think I should read? And, I'm going to try to get through this over the next 7 to 10 days. And then when that time has passed, maybe just read the next one and then the next one. And then do another 3-part pull and get some help too, okay? But this is what I have. This is what I've selected from my unread collection of novels. We got Terry McMillan, Alice Walker, and the goat of all goats, Zora Neale Hurston, all right? So Mama, I have no idea what Mama is about. There is no prologue or synopsis or anything in this copy of the book. But when I opened up the first page of the first chapter, it talks about a 27-year-old woman named Mildred who is old and tired as a workhorse at 27. So Mildred got some issues already that jump off the first page. I don't know what her story is. I don't know what her life is about. But that right there, I'm like, ooh, Mildred got some stuff. Why do she work so hard? Why she look so old? What's her backstory? I don't know. If you have read this, give me a quick overview of what this is about. Like, I haven't Googled it or anything like that. I don't know. And I kind of I don't want to find out. At the same time, though, if you done read it, tell me what you think it's about. What you remember it being about. Terry McMillan is just, to me, one of those literary greats. Several of her books have been adapted into film. Disappearing Acts with Sanaa Lathan and Wesley Snipes. Waiting to Exhale, which we all know. And shout out to the soundtrack. My God. My sister had that like in the 90s. She had that soundtrack. And I stole it from her. Hey, Shanta. Yeah, I straight up stole that from her. I don't know if I still got it. Maybe I do. I gotta check. But that soundtrack, like, it's aged well. It still holds to this day. Okay, and if it wasn't for my sister, I would probably have never heard it because I was probably too young to be listening to it anyway. But that's neither here nor there. Disappearing Acts, Waiting to Exhale, and How Stella Got Our Groove Back. Terry McMillan wrote all of those. Now, I do have quite a few of her books. I've read a couple, but I've not read this one. But based on my experience with her, I can only imagine that this book is thebomb.com. So this is one of the contenders. Ooh, my girl. My woman. So Alice Walker is the reason why I even identify as a womanist. I have quite a few of her books here as well, but I don't have all of them. My goal is to one day own all of the books that she has released into the world. I have quite a few, not all, but of the books that I own, my favorite thus far is called In Love and Trouble. I love that book. I've read it a few times, and every time I read it, like, I get excited at the same parts. It's just a combination of stories of different Black women characters who just, in one way or another, they have either conquered themselves, they have come to a hard truth or realization, or they are just drenched in heartbreak, or just a combination of all of that and then even more. I love In Love and in Trouble. Oh my gosh. But this book, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this book. Now's the time to open your heart. I haven't read this one. She also got a book called The Third Life of Granger something. I'm messing up that title, but if you just like search Alice Walker, The Third Life of, I'm sure it'll come up just like that. Listen, what a book. Okay, back to being focused. So this book I've had for a while, and I actually got it from Second and Charles. It was less than $5. That's one of my book spots, Second and Charles. This book, this gives me some idea what it's about, and it makes me want to read it for real. My father's mother was murdered when he was a boy. Before she married my grandfather, Henry Clay Walker, her name was Kate Nelson. This novel is a memorial to the psychic explorer she might have become. It also made clear to me in the writing how much I miss her and have always missed her. So she's talking about her grandma. And listen, I miss my grandmothers dearly. Okay, so that alone just makes me wonder. But when she says it's a memorial to the psychic explorer she might have become, I want to know how Alice Walker imagines her grandmama. Like, what does that mean? I'm so curious to understand how that works out in her mind. So that's what this book is about. Okay? Have you read this? What you think about it? Tell me. And last but certainly not least, Zora Neale Hurston. So without Zora Neale Hurston, we would not have Alice Walker. And those are just the facts. All right? Zora Neale Hurston is... I can actually do a whole separate video about what she means to me. Okay? I'm not going to do that right now because the video is already up to 18 minutes. And, you know, this will easily make it another 18 minutes. Now, there's a bit of a gray area here. I have read this book before. As a matter of fact, the first time I read this book, it was introduced to me by an English teacher from my high school, Miss Ramsey, who, my goodness, Miss Ramsey, thank you. Miss Ramsey, I knew who Zora Neale Hurston was before we read this book in that English class, okay? But I didn't know Zora Neale Hurston. I didn't know her for her works. I just knew who she was. I knew she was from Florida like me. This book it rocked me as a young girl. Like, it rocked me as a teenager. Because, first of all, who is this lady for real? Secondly, she did something that I had never seen until that point. She took the way that Black Southern people talk, the way that we speak when we are at home with family, you know, just in the confines of our culture and our communities. And instead of auto-correcting the language, instead of, you know, just overly punctuating it and making it something that it was not, she typed it exactly the way that it was. I had never seen, okay, let me pull up something here. It was the cool of the evening when Mistus came walking in my door. Not my, M-Y, but my, M-A-H, door. She throwed, not through, throwed. She throwed the door, not the door, D-E, door. She throwed the door wide open and stood there looking at me out of her eyes and her face. Looked like she living through 100 years in January without one day of spring. She stood over me in the bed. I never seen the way that I've heard, you know, my grandma, my great grandma talk, or just, you know, some of the older people in my family talk, and that become words that were not translated into, you know, what we understand as the English language, but actually made into its own language and validated as its own language, and it just be beautiful like that. That rocked me, dog. Like, what? So, and as a matter of fact, I remember. So, what she would do is we would read this book every day for the time that she had set for us, and we would go around the room. Each person would read something, and I remember, like, at first it was difficult for me to read it because I'm like, I ain't never. How am I supposed to read this? Even though I talk like this, even though my people talk like this, even though I'm very familiar with this, right? But it was hard for me to make the connection in my brain that they could also be words too, just the way that they are. It could be read the way that it's spoken. It could be read the way that it sounds. Whew, man, check it. Okay, let me calm down because I said I wasn't going to do this. Anyway, that year, Miss Ramsey, we read this book. That year, the movie came out, so we watched the movie, and I was able to do something I never really done before, like compare a book to a film. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you can see like what made it, what didn't make it, why did it make it. You know what I'm saying? Just all these different questions and stuff like that. And Miss Ramsey also did something that I appreciate her for to this very day. She arranged for all of us to go to the Zora Neale Hurston Festival that year. So like Zora made a huge impression on me that year, but Miss Ramsey made a huge impression on me as well. And we went to Eatonville, and I went to the Zora Neale Hurston Festival for the first time that school year, and was just captivated and blown away by who this lady was and who she thought she was, because she just was. And either you're going to like it or you ain't, but it don't make her no never mind. That was powerful to me. I wanted to know more about her, who she was. I was fascinated with how her brain worked and why it worked the way that it did. And I just wanted to eat everything that Zora cooked, period. 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 Just, yeah. So technically I've read this story, but this book I bought. And I had never owned this probably until, I don't know, last year. I saw it in Second and Charles, and I was like, I'm buying it. Because I need to have it. I need to own this. And like, why didn't I buy it sooner? This is not mine. So technically I have not read this book in my hand, but I've read the story. I ain't opposed to read this again because of Zora. As a matter of fact, I'm about 97.6% done with Dust Tracks on the Road. That I did buy at the Zora Neale Hurston Festival that I went to a few years ago. And I'm done with the story of it. I'm just reading, like, you know how at the end, like, the authors just they just put extra stuff at the end. That's where I'm at in that book. So I'm completely done with the story. Wow. And that's the closest thing to an autobiography of hers that we have. But yeah, what a book. I have to talk about that one another time. So I'm okay with reading so much by Zora, but these three, this is what I selected. And I don't know how to choose, so I need help. Should I read Mama by Terry McMillan? Should I read Now Is the Time? I can't read backwards. Now's the Time to Open Your Heart by Alice Walker, or should I read The Eyes of Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston? Eventually, I'm going to read all of them, but what should I start today? What should I start this week? I don't know. I need help. So, tell me, what should I do? Also, I'm inviting you to also partake in this challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, We still in the pandemic, girl. It's still crazy out here in these streets. It's a lot going on. Reading can really just do a lot for your mind and for your heart, and it can really help reduce stress if you allow it to. And I'm happy. So we can have a hot girl summer, but I also want to have a carefree girl summer as well. I want to have a joyful heart, playful heart, girl summer as well, and just do what I gotta do. All right. So which book should I read? I don't know. Should we do this one? Should we do this one? Or should we do this one first? I don't know. Help me, please. And again, I just finished reading this one. A good read. I say go for it if this is your kind of thing. And let me know what you think. Thanks, guys. Bye.